Hello and welcome. In today's video I'm going to be talking about these Magped platform pedals. If you've been following me on my channel and Instagram, you will know about 7 weeks ago I broke my ankle and I'm now on the period of recovery. I haven't been back on the bike, but I really am itching to. Now in the process of that recovery, having my ankle fixed as rapidly as possible, I bought some platform pedals. And then over Christmas I saw Seth's Bikes videos and he was doing a review on these pedals. And before that video had even finished, I had a look online, see if I could where I could buy these, because I thought these were a great 50-50 between pure flats and SPDs. Now I've been using SPDs all my time I've been mountain biking, absolutely have no problem with them at all, and I wouldn't even considered flat pedals up to now, but I've been told, and I can kind of see why, you need flat pedals to recover the ankle because the twisting motion might just aggravate it. But then this video took a twist. As I was making it and going through the motions, I've written a script which I'm kind of roughly following at the moment. It's all gone a bit pear-shaped. I went to fit these very nice looking pedals, very nicely machined, and from the outside they look the biz. I mean, they cost a lot of money, and then I've got import duties on top. Plus I've got all the other bits and pieces here, which I will go into in a moment. It came to a fair penny. The last thing I expected when I put this into the crank of my XTR spin bike, wobbly axle. Not what I expected at all, considering what these look like on the outside. At the end of this video, I'm going to go through and show you that wobble video, and that conversation will then detour into how Magped have proceeded. They have done very well up to this point, but it's going a teeny bit sour. So I'm going to carry on this video from where I left off. I'm going to kind of redo it. So I apologise for the rough around the edges because I just want to get this video done. So what did I get? Well, I got some Magped pedals. They're the Enduro version 2. They only come in one colour, and that should be black. And then you get various spacer plates and standard plates. Now these standard plates, they work with all the magnets, and there are 3 variations on the magnet strengths. They range from 100 Newton meters, 150 Newton meters, 200 Newton meters, and then you can get some super duper plates which apparently will work with all the other magnets, but when they're used in conjunction with the 200 Newton meters, some magic happens and they get a boost in attachment strength, and you have to buy these extra. But I think one of those attributes to why it is stronger across the board, across all the magnets, is the fact that the standard plate is about a third less thickness of metal, so there's going to be a boost straight away. Now, having never used Magped pedals before, and given in my youth playing around with magnets, while you can get some strong magnets, I have no context to what that means in terms of the attachment force. Remove your shoe from the pedal. That's why I have the 150 Newton meter magnets which came with the pedals, and I bought some extra 200 Newton meter magnets. I inadvertently, when playing around, moved the top magnet off this stack. The teeny weeny little plastic spacer, that little plastic plate fell away, and then I attached this magnet back to the top of the stack. Could I get it off? I could get so far like this, and I'd put that in a vise and then get a bottle opener and wedge the other one off. That's how strong they are. But obviously you're not going to have magnet against magnet, you have magnet against plate. I don't want to aggravate my ankle. At this moment in time, I'm just going to use a boot, put my hand in the boot, and see how easy it is to detach from this pedal. These allow you, from what I can see, to place the plate on one side, put spacer in between, and then screw it into the place where the SPD clip will be on the bottom of your shoe. As I found fiddling around, when it's half on, quarter on, when it's square on like this, i.e. totally covering the magnet, I've got to say, that is a struggle to take off. That is really a struggle. Obviously you've got the pins. I'm going to push your shoe away from the top of this platform, so that will create a few millimeters gap between if you had really hard sole shoes, but hopefully they will sink in a bit. To give you an example of the magnetism or how quickly that drops off. This spacer plate is what, a couple of millimeters thick? And just for an example, I am going to put it in between the plate and the magnet. You wouldn't normally do that, it would be the other way around. I've got an attachment, but it's a lot easier to remove from the magnet. And this is the thing I have to play with. I'll be looking to see what it takes with my shoes I plan to use and what that means to lift that shoe off the pedal. Now, Magped do sell another plate that has a hole in it that fits the circumference of this magnet, and I assume by looking at that, that's the positioning plate, so you can get it exactly on, so you can get maximum strength. But I didn't buy that plate, just thought I'll see how I get on, because I want the flexibility of being able to move my ankle around. Doesn't really matter to me, I don't get optimum strength for the magnet. You also get a little manual, and this covers all the pedals that they have. If you can see down there, there's the range of pedals. Inside there, I show you all the ways that you can attach the magnets and how it all comes together. Get a little sticker to stick somewhere. The one thing that did disappoint me slightly, here is the spare that Magped sent me, and you'll see why. They feel smooth enough. When I went to remove this axle, it's not, I don't know, to me, I would expect it to be better sealed. There's bush bearings in there and they're extremely smooth, but how much this little gap between the axle and the pedal allow ingress of dirt. Now, they don't sell separate pedal axles. You might have to talk to them especially and say, can you send us over? But they don't have them as a part you can buy. The pedal weighs in, apparently, for the kitted up all like this with a few pegs in it, comes in at about 477 grams. So it's quite hefty. When you think about it, that's a bag of sugar. When it doesn't have any pegs or magnets in it, it's actually quite a light pedal. Pegs, you get a bunch full of pegs here, and they have different lengths, so you can turn them over and get, I think, about 4 millimeters of peg or 3 millimeters of peg. So the choice is yours, and just how far you want to push that shoe away from the platform pedal. But I've gone for half the pegs at the shortest distance, because the last thing I want is my SBD memory, muscle memory, to kick in after many years, and I will instantly, I just know I will, under pedal stress, I will go to lift my foot up to come round, and doing a technical section I can see my foot lifting off, and then I get a shin full of pins. Not what I want. So I've compromised a little bit there. Depends on the grip. But also, if I put in too many pegs, I want that twist motion to lift, and will naturally try and do that. And obviously the pins will stop me doing that. How much is the lift force to take off? So I can see a combination of lift and twist, and then the different magnet strengths will play into how easy it is to remove that shoe. So what else did I get in the box? More than one Allen key, 3 of which look exactly the same. So I presume that's because I bought extra magnets and plates, but that's good to have. You don't have to rummage around. Lots of variation in bolts. Depending on the spacing and your shoe, you can keep that plate close to the sole or push it away and down closer to the magnet, and then you get various screws to go in here. Very good out of the box, good start, lots of options to get that set up as you want it. And here is my test subject, the very boot that my ankle was in when I broke it. And I expect one of the saving graces of how I didn't damage the ankle as bad as it could have been, because it is a high top boot, as you see here, and so it kept my ankle in place, restricting the twisting motion. The doctors did say, did you walk on that ankle? And I said to him, well, yes, I did walk out from the woods a few hundred meters, because they turned around and said, well, the bone hasn't moved, and that is very good for you. Yeah, I only had a teeny weeny little millimeter crack in the bone, though it was a full separation, the bone was in place. So quite grateful to have it wearing these boots at the time. Wonder how much of an attachment I will have using this SBD as against using a plate. I should think it would be quite a bit weaker. There's more chance of this SPD not being positioned optimally on top of the round magnet. Just to show, one SPD, one magnet, it does stay there. But you know, that might be just enough. You get it square on, and it's, I don't know if you can see there, it is touching. No twisting, because those pegs are stopping the twisting motion. And that just might be enough, actually. Yeah, well, we'll see. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that boot, I'm going to take the pedal, and I am going to attach it to the spin bike. See if I can crouch down here without duffing my ankle in. Now, these pedals come with a 6mm hex. Now, it was at this point in the video version 1 that I was screwing it in like this, and I noticed something was wrong. And let me just cut to that clip. Look at that rotation on the axle. So if I just do this half rotation, see that pedal move like that? And I'm sure it's not my XTR pedals. There's actually quite a wobble on there. You can see how the axle on the original set of pedals were wobbly, bent. What I've done is I've taken the axle out of the replacement pedal, I've put that axle into this pedal, and you can see here there's still a teeny bit of wobble. I wouldn't say these pedals are perfect by any means, and that's part of my disappointment considering how expensive they are. But all I know is these very cheap Welco pedals that I got off a bike years ago, these go into this XTR crank straight as a die, no wobble at all. And what, these will cost what, just a few quid compared to this expensive Magped pedal. So I don't know if that's acceptable, bent wobbly axles in the flat world, but I do know from my experience, if you have an axle that is bent even a teeny bit on an SPD pedal, because your foot is attached, any kind of wobble motion will affect your knee in the end. And I certainly don't want that, because I don't want to affect my ankle. But anyway, these are as good as they're going to get for the moment. Okay, the SPD boot. You probably see that while it does attach, in the current position where this SPD is, sits on the pedal okay, but it may be just a teeny far, what's the word, back. And so to move it forward to get more underneath the pedal, I'm going to have to move the SPD anyway. So if I'm going to have to do that, I might as well just go on to the next plate. I now have a flat area which is going to be near spot on to where the SPD used to be. I am going to need a spacer, because that gap is way too deep for it to be effective on the magnet. And so I've got the standard spacer in here, but I don't know if you can see there's still a tiny step, so this isn't flush to the sole. So let's see how we get on. I'm a little bit skeptical just how much this can attach to the magnet. Well, as you saw there, that actually was better than expected. It does attach and it does find a magnet. It is of course stronger when that magnet is dead in the middle of this plate. That could be workable. That might be an option. So what I'm going to do now is put in the super duper plate, because that's a teeny bit thicker. So that's with the super duper plate, the same spacer, the same screws. I don't know if you can see there, it has moved it a little bit closer to the bottom of the sole. I reckon I've got, what, none to about 1 millimeter. So to see how this attaches to the pedal. that was stronger. So even if this plate isn't meant for that magnet specifically, in that it's not meant to improve magnetism, but because I've closed the distance, it has made for a stronger attachment. This one looks very positive. Now what I have to do is change to the 200 Nm magnets in the pedals. So after some subjective boot removing, obviously not scientific by any means, that is definitely stronger. I wouldn't say massively stronger, but there is a definite more of a tug, twist, try and get it off. Now I've got to decide, do I go for 150 Newton meter with a standard plate, 150 Newton meter with a super duper plate, 200 with a normal plate, or 200 with a super duper plate? I've chosen the super duper plate because it's slightly thicker, not necessarily because it's any stronger on these magnets, and one spacer. And on the pedal I've used the 150 Newton meter magnet. And one thing I did notice, and I didn't realise until I actually attached it to the pedal, you might have seen there, that actually one of the reasons why the 200 Newton meter magnet is stronger is because it's actually slightly bigger, and so it overlaps their spongy rubber mounty thing. So these magnets sort of sit on this rubber cushion, and I assume that will give it a teeny bit of lateral movement to adjust. It's very hard to move, but it's on like a little squashy pillow, for want of a better word. How long those will last, again, you can't get spare parts for those unless you particularly ask them. They're not listed on their catalogue. Now to the reason why I had to make version 2 of this video. Now, as you might have alluded to earlier, with that pedal going in a bit wonky, I contacted Magped in Germany, and I got in contact with the COO, Harold, and to give him 10 out of 10 for response. You're always a bit sceptical when you fill in one of those little things, please leave us a message and we'll get back to you in a timely manner type thing. Well, Harold got back to me within an hour, and this was 4 days before Christmas, and he said, we'll send you across a new pedal. I thought, wow. And then on Christmas Eve, he said, I've sent a pedal. That's the kind of service I thought, this is really going to be cool. And so the pedal arrived, which is this one, and no magnets, no pins, just came in a plain box. Now I was meant to replace this left hand pedal with all the magnets and use this one instead. But as you probably noticed already, the colour differences between the two. And yeah, you wouldn't notice between the left and the right, and then in the mud, and not in the mud, whether you actually had different colour pedals. But it goes back to the fact how much you paid for these pedals. So I don't know if it's quality control or batching colours, but the fact that I got two different colour pedals, which are meant to be exactly the same, for the moment, I've just swapped the axle out of this grey colour pedal and put it in this pedal. So I'm back to where I should have been when I first bought these pedals, but there may be something may pan out of this, so this doesn't necessarily have to go further, but I've just been a bit pedantic now since how much I paid for these pedals, and I shouldn't really need to have to do this. It kind of starting to add up as to these could potentially be very, very good, but somewhere along the line quality control is falling down. I've yet to see how these bearings work out in here. To change the axles is easy enough. you just take this nut off here, and there's an inner nut, and then there's a lock nut, and this whole spindle just comes out. Really, really easy. In fact, I would say a little too easy. They do have some blue Loctite in there, but put it this way, I didn't really have to do any twisting of Allen keys to do that, or socket sets, which made me think I might have to go to the right hand pedal and check just how tight that one is, because the Loctite doesn't seem to have quite kicked in. So I don't know if that's another quality control issue. So I will be taking apart the right hand pedal just to check. I told Harold at Magped that yes, the pedal's arrived, brilliant, but it's a different colour. And this is where it went a teeny bit sour. He goes, please can you send back the pedal? Well, I can send back the pedal, but that's starting to cost me money, which makes these pedals even more expensive. And then when I said this is a different colour, he then said, can you send back all the pedals? Which means, one, I don't have any pedals. I couldn't make this review. Not that I want to make a review like this one, because I certainly don't like to make complaining reviews. But at my expense, £200 worth of pedal, well, plus a shell, to go back to Harold to then replace it to again get another set at my own expense. So I've written an email saying, look, I'll send them back to you, and I'll happily do that if you'll give me returns, postage, DHL, whatever it is that you need to be done. But since how much I paid for these pedals, and I shouldn't really need to have to do this, I will give Magped, I will give Harold 11 out of 10 for response, because this really could have dragged out, especially over Christmas. The fact that he did send it on Christmas Eve seems to be posted on Boxing Day. Did it come over with Father Christmas? But for all the positives, there seems to be a few negatives. So I will be doing a follow-up video, and that will include the outcome of how this turns out, whether pedals do get replaced or not. I will do a review on how I get on with these pedals, because they do look very positive. The boots seem to work quite well, and these could be good fun. Just see how long they last. Anyway, so I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Of course, if you want to see how this follows on, how I get on with these pedals, how my ankle gets on with these pedals, do I revert back to SPDs, then do hit that subscription button, turn on notifications, be sure not to miss this follow-up video and any subsequent videos. Of course, I've got my mountain bike route description videos, and I've also now got my bikepacking rafting videos, so do watch out for those. That should be good fun for next year. Keep safe, keep well, and I'll catch up with you guys next time.